Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about Lio Kaiser and the fact that the figure has finally funded, and we're also going to talk about Hasbro's pivot in their strategy for over the next couple years in the direction that the company is going. And I don't necessarily know if it's the best, course of action, but we'll see. Of course, I got a lot to talk about, so sit back, relax. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Hope you guys enjoyed my Springer retrospective. Of course, it took a lot of time to make that video, and I want to make sure I'm being able to produce more content for you very soon, because, that's the thing. In order to keep the lights on, I've got to be able to make more content. And with that, of course, you could always help support the channel through Patreon, or you can help support the channel through channel memberships, or check out my Dashery store. Of course, I've got all the links to that in the description below, so you can check that out. So, of course, the first thing I want to talk to you guys today about is Lio Kaiser. I saw the HasLab figure in person, and it is now currently sitting at 12,078 backers. It needs 1,000 more people to unlock Death Cobra. The figure, when I saw it in person, I was really impressed with it. Everybody's been picking it apart at certain places. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I can totally understand why some of you may look at this and say, well, I'll just stick with the Combiner War. I wouldn't, honestly, looking at the Combiner Wars one, the Combiner Wars one was a bad attempt at Lio Kaiser. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I understand some people are going for the aftermarket figures and looking at that when it comes down to, getting a version of Lio Kaiser, whether you want it in Masterpiece scale or a Legend scale or what have you. This scales with the current combiners that Hasbro is putting out. So the Devastator, the Superion, it scales well with Transformers, with Star Saber, Victory Saber, and Deathsaurus, of course. So this is really a matter of, how else are you going to get an official, version of this character? The other thing to take into consideration is that the original toy mold for this can't be reissued, because the original mold for Lio Kaiser was actually, in part of it, was destroyed in a fire in Europe. So it can't be made again unless, of course, they just recast the molds. So this is your best chance at getting an official Lio Kaiser if you want to do so. The biggest issue, and I am on board with everybody that has been skeptical about this, is the price. It's being priced with all three of the tiers at, $300 US plus shipping, plus this extra, care thing, package. So total, it's going to cost $360 to ship to you. And I'm like, that's really expensive. It's asking a lot, when the economy is not the best that it can be. And I can understand some of the looking at some of the things on the figure and saying, okay, I don't see how they're doing that, like with the, the waffling on the blasters there, or, that the head looks a little small, or you don't like the way that certain pieces connect. I'm hoping that they can, for the amount of money that you're going to have to spend in order to get this, if you are backing it, that they can improve upon what's already been shown so far. Because from what I gathered, they're still at that phase where it's not 100% like the product that they're showing you, that they're going to be doing improvements along the way. And I've heard some folks say, oh, it would be better if they just showed me the final product and then I decided to back it. To which I totally understand. My biggest complaint is price. It's a little out of my price range to be able to afford it. I want it, but it's rather on the expensive side. It's kind of the same reason why not everybody went for Unicron, is because Unicron at $600 was a big ask, but it was Unicron, right? So, and I understand some people are like, well, they could have put this on retail. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how they would be able to get this specific combiner on retail shelves unless it was a store exclusive or something. It would have been difficult to ask for a Transformers Victory character to get put out there. I understand Galaxy Shuttle, but that was a capsule program, and it was just a minor retool of an existing figure. So it wasn't like they were doing anything else. And that's something you have to understand with Hasbro, and why I wanted to kind of shift to this particular topic about Hasbro's announcement. You know, with they had their earnings call, and you know, their fourth quarter was not the fourth quarter that they wanted. And so they just, you know, announced with their earnings call that they're going to be shifting to more of a IP company and a video game company over toys. Like, it's going to, like, toys will probably still be produced, but like a large portion of their IPs that they own, they're already shifting a lot of their toys to other toy manufacturers. It's already happening with Playmates is picking up the license to make Power Rangers toys. So with Playmates, you know, doing a relaunch of Power Rangers, Hasbro is slowly in that process of becoming more of an IP company. I'm probably, you know, you can already see that with the 3 3/4 O-ring figures for G.I. Joe. You're seeing that with, you know, other figures that are like, the only thing with Transformers is that it has to, you know, what I think the reason why that it's coming, that official figures are the transforming ones, is because Takara is still producing the Transformers too. It's a collaboration between Hasbro and Takara, or Takara Tomy. So you're not getting, it's not fully licensed through Hasbro, but you're noticing that the kid-centered lines, they're really cheaping out on those kid-centered lines. It's probably the reason why you're not seeing as many kids get into the action figures. Now, you know, I'm a parent. I got 2 kids, and I see what my kids play with. My daughter loves dolls, so she always has a Barbie doll with her. But my son, he always has like building blocks. He's got different action figures and toys that he plays with, and he intermingles them all. He has his Ninja Turtle stuff coming in with Mario. He has, you know, some Transformers that we've given him. We've given him a whole bunch of stuff that he plays with, and it's just, you know, how he plays with stuff. And then he comes in here and he's, you know, messing around with some of my Legacy stuff. So it's not like, you know, my kids are not playing with toys. But yeah, there is more of the center that they believe that more people are playing video games, more people are on their tablets. It's why you're not seeing people watching TV. They're cutting the cords, and the economy has been not the best. It's kind of the reason why, you know, you have a lot of us on YouTube that are sitting there saying, like, you know, ad revenue is not what it used to be, right? Because how are they paying for advertisements? So Hasbro themselves is changing their profit, you know, they want to like look for more profit margins in different ways, and they want to more shift towards gaming. One of the announcements they made during this thing was that Hasbro wants to make a AAA game with one of their more successful IPs. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, they're going to make a Transformers video game. We don't know if they're going to make a Transformers video game. They may make a Transformers video game in the future. They looked at the model for Transformers Reactivate and saw how that market would not have made them the money that they would have thought. And so, of course, it eventually canceled that project. So if they're going to invest a whole bunch of money into shifting Hasbro to take their IPs and let other people make video games, let other people make toys, where else are they going to make fiction out of it? Where else are they going to make the cartoons? You got to get people who are invested in this stuff. And, you know, with this whole playing to win thing, you can see like toys are on the bottom that, you know, they want to age up. Now, the thing with aging up is quite literally they're realizing that a lot of their IPs, it's more of us who are the adult fans, people who are in their 20s to people who are in their 60s are playing with Hasbro toys. Whereas there are less 5-year-olds playing with Hasbro toys. A lot of it has to do with the fact that the 5-year-old gets a toy and they look at it and go, how come you get the better toy and I don't? You know, that's my opinion. But, you know, so they're looking to try and like see like, they're going to make, you know, action figures going to appeal to the 13-year-old. Okay, great. 5-year-olds still need toys too. So it's, I don't know. That's just my opinion on things. They're looking, you got to remember, Chris Cox came from Microsoft. So in his eyes, he wants to make more video game stuff because he came from a gaming market. And that's where he thinks that the money is going to be when it comes down to these properties. So G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, Transformers, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons. You're just going to try and make it everything digital? I mean, Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering are tabletop games. Trying to make everything digital doesn't necessarily work. Transformers works as toys, but it needs fiction. So you can make video games, you can make movies, you can make TV shows, you can make comic books. And comic books are doing really well. But a comic book audience doesn't necessarily make profit for Hasbro, like in today's day and age. It used to back in the day, but not the same way it does today. The other thing that they saw was that Transformers saw solid growth, but some consumer products saw a major decline. 12% decline is a pretty steep drop for things like Star Wars. Well, you think? Who can you blame for that one? Disney. When it comes down to Nerf, that's one where I wonder with Nerf, like, what is it? There's no advertising for these things anymore. I don't see advertisement whether in YouTube, YouTube videos. Like, I don't see that advertisement when I'm, going to watch a streaming, TV show for any of these toys. Where are the commercials for them? You want to know why that there's a steep decline? Because people aren't being enticed to play with them. The loss of Toys R Us really hurt there. And so, like, how are you going to reinvent Nerf? Star Wars, in my opinion, is a dead brand. Completely, totally dead brand. They said that they saw an increase in, like, things like Captain America, with the new movie. But that all depends upon how much more the toys sell with the movie, whether or not it does good or not. I'm not going to get into that. But, Magic the Gathering, Magic the Gathering prints them money. They can charge, like, $100 for, like, a pack of cards, and all you're doing is printing on card stock. It's like, I mean, that's how, like, Hasbro's making their money with Magic the Gathering. They're making their money with Transformers is because they're not putting all of their money into the investment. Takara is, and they're also selling, and Takara is selling in their markets when it comes down to Transformers as well, plus the name brand recognition. But name brand recognition can only go so far. You need a solid fiction to sell said product for things like for Transformers. And their thing that they want to shift towards is licensing. They want to be an IP holding company. So instead of having, Hasbro finance a new Transformers cartoon, I mean, they are with Transformers Cyberworld apparently, they'll probably do is they'll have someone who wants to make a Transformers cartoon, and Hasbro will say, well, here's the license for it. Now you pay us, and the person makes the upfront costs. So if Paramount wants to make a new Transformers movie, then they're going to have to front the cost and pay Hasbro for the rights to make a Transformers movie. You see where they're going? They're trying to pawn off the brands that they have as an IP holder. And the problem when you do that is that, like, there's, unless there's enough care made by the people who want to make that stuff, how is Hasbro going to look at it when it comes down to these things coming out? You have something like Lio Kaiser, where I know for a fact that the toy designers are making the figures as best as they possibly can with the confines that Hasbro puts on top of them. Hasbro says you have to make this much cost saving here. You have to make this much cost saving there. And they go, we really want to make this toy awesome. We really love this character. We really love this, particular, whatever that we're making. And Takara has just as much love for it too. And so when they come out with it, but if you don't have something that sells the toy, then it hurts the product in the bottom dollar. But that's not where Hasbro is looking. They're looking more into, more kids are playing video games today, so we want some of that action, right? And they want to make a AAA video game. What are you going to do? They make a AAA video game of My Little Pony? They make a AAA video game of Transformers, and people were saying, like, oh, we would love another thing of Transformers Devastation or Transformers War for Cybertron. And yes, those games were great, but at the same time, what direction would they take it? And that's where I see an issue, because a lot of the video games that have been coming out recently for Transformers, kind of, you know, in a way, a lot of people have felt have been shovelware, you know, where they're not really that great games, but they have the license. They have the license for a Transformers Cyberverse game. They have the license for a Transformers whatever game. And you look at it and you go, You know, I mean, Earth Wars is still going strong, right? But that's a mobile game. I used to play it a lot. I don't play it anymore. But, you know, you quickly came to the realization, it's like, it gets really monotonous after a while. You know, I want to have fun playing these games. And I want to care about the fiction. I want them to care about the story. I want them to care about these characters. And Hasbro is just looking at it as like, well, it's just an IP that we own. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the best direction. And, you know, Hasbro themselves are going to have to, you know, if this is the direction they're going to take it, they're going to have to learn whether or not this is going to be a good decision or not. You know, maybe we might get some people who really, really care about Transformers and can, like, helm a new story or whatever and take the bull by the horns. And yeah, they're being paid by Hasbro as an IP license holder kind of thing, but with the with maybe some understanding, like, you know, make this the fiction for Transformers moving forward. I don't know. We'll see where they go. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that this was a really good decision for Hasbro, you know, in the long run? And are you excited for Lio Kaiser? Are you backing it? Or are you waiting to see, for more photos to come out, more of the finished prototypes to come out before you make your decision? Or are you saying, you know what, I'm going to stick with whatever version of whatever that I care, or I don't really care about the character? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.